Sober October, day 17, unmanageability. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become unmanageable. We admitted that our lives had become unmanageable. Unmanageability is basically the evidence in our lives of the powerlessness we have over alcohol. It's not the drinking itself, it's what the drinking does to us as functioning humans. It messes everything up, and life becomes harder. Is your life harder because of alcohol? Earlier this month, I went over the general effects of alcohol on areas of our life like money, health, mental health, emotional health, our connection with others, and with God. When we talk about unmanageability, we're talking about the fact that life is getting harder and harder to manage until you get to a point where, as they say in AA, our lives had become unmanageable. I remember when I first got into recovery, I really struggled to grasp what this meant, and looking back, it's because I think at the time I still believed I could manage my life. I still felt like I could control things, make things work, keep everything functioning. The stress and anxiety and shame and pressure you feel from trying to continually manage life while also sabotaging yourself through continued alcohol use or abuse, it's crazy. It's a big part of that increase in mental health issues we talked about earlier in the month. So what does unmanageability actually look like in life? I would say in general, in my own words, it's trying to hold on to the life you once had or wish you had while you see it slowly diminishing or being harder and harder to maintain. Your finances are taking a hit. Your health is taking a hit. Your mental and emotional well-being is diminishing. Your relationships are taking a hit. You're no longer practicing or thinking about your faith. The things we talked about earlier in the month, they start to really be impacted by a habit that seems to take precedence over your goals, your day-to-day activities, your values, your commitments. This is when you know alcohol is a problem. Again, I'm not saying you're an alcoholic, but I would say an alcoholic would identify with these issues and has real unmanageability in his or her life. If you see signs of unmanageability in your life, it definitely means something, maybe alcohol, has become a problem, but you're using it as a solution, as something you are depending on more and more to try to help you manage life. But it's actually leading to an unmanageable life. If you're focusing more and more energy and time on obtaining and using and recovering from alcohol, it's going to make your life harder. So, what are the signs? What does unmanageability look like? Some examples. You break promises that you have made to others. You break promises that you have made to yourself. Promises about using alcohol. Promises about where you'll be, about when you'll be there. Promises to family, friends, work. They're broken. You bend your own rules. You compromise your own values. Maybe you know you shouldn't be using alcohol the way you are, but you do it anyway. You value honesty, but you lie to others and you lie to yourself about what's truly going on. You do things you don't want to do, and you do things you know you shouldn't do. You can see that your actions will cause problems, but you do it anyway. Physically, you know you're going to feel crummy. You know you're going to have a less productive day. You know tomorrow is going to be harder, and you know that continuing to drink is going to hinder maybe some of your goals regarding your health. You know you really ought to be making changes so that you're healthier, but your drinking doesn't change. You drink, you feel crummy, and then you drink so you don't feel so crummy. You know you can't spend the amount of money you're spending. You know you have a budget. You know you have goals as a family. You have other things that are more important, more necessary, but you don't change your drinking habit. You know you're struggling mentally, emotionally. It's wearing you down. You don't feel like you're in a good place, but nothing changes. You feel shame and guilt around your drinking habits and use, and it's pushing you further away from people you're close to, your friends, your family. You're not the dad you should be, the mom you should be, the spouse you should be, and nothing changes. You know the shame and the guilt are affecting your relationship with God. You're not participating at church. You're not connecting with other people at church, but nothing changes. You try to change everything else in your life, and you try to fix all these problems without trying to solve the drinking problem. This is what makes life so unmanageable. It continues because you trust your own judgment, even though you're getting signals from people around you that you're hurting yourself and you're hurting others. You're starting to see the evidence in your life around you, but it doesn't change anything. Eventually, it could lead to things like memory lapses. You black out. You find yourself making riskier and riskier choices. You feel embarrassed by how you act, by what you do. Your life starts to unfold in a way that you never imagined, and you start asking yourselves questions like, how did this happen? What am I doing? Why can't I change? This is a tough situation, and I've literally been in it. Countless people have been in it, coming face to face with both your powerlessness over a problem, the consequences of the problem, and your inability to do anything about it. But you're still trying to solve all the consequences, all the problems that alcohol is causing in your life. It's overwhelming. It's defeating. It leads to despair. Now, if this is where you are, as I tell people, you're not alone, there is hope, and there is a way forward. And if you're not there, you don't have to get there. You don't have to bottom out to see signs of unmanageability in your life. You can choose to do something about it, but it's going to be totally different than what you think it's going to look like. I have one more episode focusing on problems and some of the things that support our problems, specifically attitudes and some of the excuses going on inside us. And then we'll turn to how we can deal with a lot of this stuff, the solutions to our problems. As I like to say, we got to talk about the bad news before we get to the good news. But that's it for this episode. I hope it gave you some perspective on your relationship with alcohol. As always, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.